getting a little late. We'll do one more. Uno más. It's kind of fun. I know it's I talk to myself down here. I do that a lot. Gives me somebody to talk to. What should we draw, guys? This is why I need you, because I have no idea what I should be drawing. I got a little figure on my desk, and you can put them in different poses and stuff. Maybe I'll draw that. I'll do a little stick figure here. Again, I love to start with shapes. So we got the chest area here. Let's say that, and start with. I like to start with the shapes and just the main areas here. So my guy here's the kind of function pieces. So he's got like a ball here and a ball here. And then there's like a ball for the arms and all that stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen it before, like little clay modeling classes or whatever. But it's pretty. I think it's a novelty. I don't think it really helps you too much. I mean, maybe it doesn't bend the way that a human would actually bend. I guess it lets you get an idea for the lengths maybe, but certainly not actual the way things bend, because our bodies are way more complicated than what we can do with a little, probably $5 stick man thing. So you got the joints, and again, it's like they're real thin too. So it's not like your thighs are. I mean, unless you've got some dieting problems, you're not gonna have thighs that are this thin, and legs that are this thin, and arms that look like that for certainly. There's not even any fingers. What's going on, dude? You got no fingers. But yeah, so there's this guy, and then there's like a ball here. He's got a weird little head too. It kind of looks like a light bulb almost, like this, bing, 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 bing. Anyways, so you start with that. You can, I guess, since we got nothing else, and then you can kind of fill it in from there, to try and get something workable. You'll see me do the construction pencil a lot, and it's really grainy. It's not great, but it's good to get some quick lines down, to get some quick reference points. And then the cool thing, again, about Photoshop and about doing tools online, what you can do is fade things back, and then use that as kind of a guide and put your actual lines down over top of it. Let me do something a little more close up so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. Again, let's do a face again. So my faces earlier were pretty bad. It's okay. I know. They weren't great. They weren't great, guys. But that's why we're here. So we'll try and do something a little better, something a little more passable. And I'll spend more time on this. I've been working through stuff pretty quickly. They're very rough, and they don't come out looking very finished. So I'll spend the last bit of the night here, and we'll do something that's a little bit more polished. Not too polished, but more time than I was spending. I think I spent like 5 minutes, maybe tops, on each one of those images. Just kind of doodling away, and not really establishing anything, not doing it properly, not going back and fixing things. Oh gosh, this is also one of the bad things. So I drew on the actual paper. So one of the great things about Photoshop is that you can go ahead and you can make as many layers as you want, and you draw on the actual layers above your paper, and that way if you've got a problem, you can just get rid of the layer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of get around this by fading that one back and adding a new white background. So let's go back into my construction pencil tool, and I'll clean this up just a little bit. Oops, I still want my blue. All right. Clean this up a little bit to get our construction pencil a little bit better, and then we'll come back and clean it up even further. So here's my face. And I don't draw like a line as just one line, one smooth line. I always kind of do this little dash thing to get my, at least for when I'm setting things up, just to kind of get the line that I want, and then later on I'll do better at creating a better line that's a more of a straight line and it's not so jagged. But now I can go ahead and delete that. And so let's put our center line down this guy, something like that. Again, our Loomis method puts this side cranial mass that's kind of flattened, so that the face has those different planes. So if we did our Loomis method again, you break that into your quarters, and depending on the angle of this and that, that's where you would kind of do your gaze. I guess break your lines up. So we do it in thirds. So there's top there. So there's our top third, second third, and our bottom third, right? And for those of you maybe who didn't watch the last video, so the eyebrows essentially start at this line there, and the nose comes to about here, and then your mouth is somewhere in there, and then this line up here is kind of where you would start the hairline. So I don't know if we're drawing a guy or a girl here. I haven't decided yet, but we can figure that out as we go. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of bring that around. Maybe I'll make it a woman. The woman's is kind of more elegant here. A guy's more chiseled. A woman's kind of more rounded. I haven't even got to the refined stage, so who knows? We'll do. So, and the other thing I mentioned in my other videos is I like to start the tops of my ears at the top of where my eyebrows are, and then bring that around, and then usually stop it where the nose is. Again, it's going to depend on how much of the ear you see, depending on your angle. But this angle will get a bunch of the nose, or the ear. Why was I saying nose the whole time? Nobody stopped me. All right, so the ear, something like this. You kind of have like these shaded areas here where it's like that, and then like this kind of goes, and you'll get some shading in here. Anyways, something like that. It's not perfect. We'll try and fix that in a little bit. And then you got your cheekbone there. Go down here. We got our chin. There's that little light under there. Our neck. Our neck. You always have that vein here that kind of runs like this. There's kind of one that's like here too, I think. And then maybe your Adam's apple or whatever is there. Just really depends. And again, how muscular you are too, or how fat you are, I guess. If you're super muscular, you might have this and almost like this other thing here. So if you're drawing like a real muscular guy, he almost has like, see that that weird neck thing. Well, those guys work out their necks, I guess. I don't know why anybody does that. I guess it gives you that superhero Hulk look, or Bane, or whoever your superhero guy is that you like, that you're looking for. I'm not that dude. I don't I don't try and get that crazy neck bulge thing, but I also don't go to the gym as often as I should either. So I guess I shouldn't complain or make fun of those who do, who get super fit, because they have a look in mind that they want to get to, and they commit and they get it done. They go, and good for them. So I'm not a morning person, and that's the time that I would have to go to the gym, and therefore I don't usually make it. So yeah. Anyways, enough about the gym. You guys didn't come here to hear about the gym. All right, so there's mouth, and we got this thing going on there. That whatever that is, this kind of dips down here. I feel like maybe that let's stop there. So the other kind of trick that I have, if you think about the eye and where maybe the pupil would be, maybe there, maybe there. If you bring it down, your corner of your mouth almost goes to here and here, like where that pupil is. That's kind of my trick. That's not always true. Again, it really depends. I don't have source material here. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just drawing based on things I've known before to be generally true. But that's not always the case. So, and again, I'm trying to get like a general feel for what I'm putting down here before I really go back in and fix it up, make it better, trying to figure out where my line should be before I go in and commit to anything. And I use the term commit lightly because, again, really when you're drawing on a tablet like this or on the computer, you have undo, as you've seen me undo things already. So you're not committed to anything anyways. But God, I hate eyes. I can never get them right. So the thing I'm struggling with here, so there's this distance from here to here, kind of where your eye starts, and because we're seeing this side of the face here, you kind of see this distance here. Whereas on this side, it's going to be condensed because it's going to be hidden by this nose. So that space here is going to be real close. So your eye might start here. So that tear duct that you're kind of seeing right there is going to start like right in there. At least I think is where I'm going to put it. And then see I have such a hard time doing eyes, or two eyes I should say, not eyes. Singular eyes plural is what I have a hard time with. So, and you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to flip that because I'm struggling with that, and it's kind of a weird angle for me to draw that at. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and we'll flip this. So that actually doesn't look too bad. There's some things I'm noticing already. I've got a bit of a lean on the face that I don't necessarily want, which always tends to happen to me, I think, because I'm right-handed. So I end up having like a lean that I don't like in my drawings, where it's got like this kind of lean to it, and it ends up looking weird where the head's all wonky. Yeah, this is much easier to draw on this side. So the other thing that's tough too is trying to match the shapes. Yeah, I kind of dipped down there, and I shouldn't have done that. The other one doesn't dip down like that. So the other one comes kind of like this. I think we talked about this in one of the other things. I can't even remember what I said before now, but as you get kind of more extreme angles, God, this looks bad again. Jeez, I really hate trying to do eyes. I'll get rid of the eyebrow too. Maybe that's throwing me off. I'll get rid of this down here. Let's see how my shape's coming in. That doesn't look bad by itself. I feel like that needs to come up a little bit more too. Let's go ahead and bring this up a little bit. All right, so we got our eyebrow here. Oh, as I was saying, as you kind of get your eyes on a more extreme angle, you're getting most of the eye here. So this isn't a great example, but if I were to go even further, where you would see more of this side of the head and less of this side, what begins to happen is that your eye, I'll draw it over here for you. So your eye, you're going to see it like this, front facing. But as your eye moves, you'll see more of the side of the eyeball. So this will be like the side view, right? So you see that front of the eye because you have your rounded eyeball here. So you see that, but like as you kind of move, you get more of that side view, because if you think about the eyeball, it's going to start to kind of wrap around to wrap around this. So this part's almost hidden by the rest of your eyeball because that's going to be there. So it just depends on like what angle you have. This is a really bad maybe example. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about at all, but it just really depends on the direction of your eye. So you're going to get more of this rounded shape the further that you go and you turn, and it keeps kind of going until you get the whole thing. If you think about it like that, and that's your front view with your iris. But if you're on the side view, you're going to see that roundness of the eyeball like this. Your iris is going to be there, and that whole thing. And you see that part, and then your nose comes down with the cheek. Anyways, hopefully that makes sense. Let me just erase this stuff real quick. I'm not using any of my key commands, guys. What is going on with that? I would spend a lot less time messing around if I use my key commands. All right, so this isn't too bad, I don't think. I do kind of think I want to kind of round that just a little bit right there. So we got the tear duct here. So that's not too shabby. So hopefully this guy will give you guys some confidence that by doing one that's a little bit more cleaned up, that I'm not completely terrible. I've drawn for quite a long time. I'm not a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I've drawn enough where I feel like I've got a good grasp on things. I just need polishing. I need practice, and that's what I'm here for, because I feel like I was way better in college than I am now, because I was doing it a lot more in college when I was taking my art classes, and I had life drawing and all that kind of stuff. I felt like that was like when I was at my best, and I just haven't done it in a long time to the level that I'd like to be. So that's why we're here. Again, that's why we're here. Learn to draw better. So improve my drawing skills. All right, so this is what I told you about. This is the cool stuff, guys. This is the part that I think is real neat. So when I watch people online, because I watch a lot of people online do this kind of stuff, I love that they can, they get a pretty good constructor line, and then they come back through, and then they really make it pop. And that's, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm not great at that. But I'll try and do a decent job for you guys so that you guys can kind of get a feel here for things. So I'm on my new layer here, so you can see my blue layer underneath, and I use this as a guide. This is like you kind of tracing, but you're not cheating, right? Because you drew it, but you just get to clean it up, and that's not something you get to do on paper. I mean, maybe if you draw really light lines, then you can kind of erase it away, which I think is really amazing. I've seen a lot of artists online where they'll actually draw on paper, and they do such a great job of drawing just light enough to where they can go back through then and they can erase it and use that same paper and come out with a super finished drawing, and it looks fantastic, and you don't even really notice the lines underneath that they didn't commit to. And I think that's an incredible skill to have, because you have to, that's so much practice with the pressure of your pen or your pencil or whatever. I guess not pen. You could use whiteout. Some people use whiteout, I guess. But that takes a lot of skill. Kind of masculine, but you know what? I think I'm going to go the more feminine route here, guys. Just to kind of show you how you can kind of change things up and create a different man-female persona, just based on having slightly modified things. So one of the things I noticed for the females, this area right here, there's this big area right there that is a much bigger gap on females because they take much better care of their eyebrows, guys. And so they always kind of come up a little bit like that. So again, I'm using my shapes. I shouldn't be using my shapes. I should be more more polished now, right? Since I'm doing that. So I'm going to try and make the nose just a little smaller, a little bit more feminine if I'm going to do that route. So the nose isn't so big. I feel like guys have bigger noses. Maybe that's sexist. Not always true. But I feel like at least in a lot of drawings and things that you see, it's just a commonality that you tend to notice, but maybe not always true. Depends on the character. Again, if you're drawing from real life or from source material, you do whatever is in front of you, as true as you can. But for our purposes, I'm drawing from memory. I'm trying to make it look like a female, so I'm going to go a little over the top of things to try and really make it look the way that I want to make it look. So again, do the eyebrows, pretty thin. I got some little more bushy there than I wanted, but that's okay. She hasn't been to the salon in a while. Lips, again, lips are bigger, fuller for the ladies typically. So I'll try and showcase that as well. So we have the bigger lips on top here, and then the huge lip on the bottom, right? So usually that's where you'll see that. And then the eyebrows, again, they go kind of up there because they do a better job of taking care of themselves. This looks like a very pretty man right now. We'll try and make it look a little bit more feminine as we go along. Maybe I should have went the male route, like I said, starting out, because it did have kind of a masculine quality. I think it's partly the jawline here. So let's make that a little smoother too. Maybe that'll help. Jawline, this is a little masculine as well. I think it's just a little too not as soft, maybe feeling. So we have that. All right. Again, so hard drawing those eyes from one side. So maybe I'll flip it. The other thing that's not helping either too is my hairline over here, making it look very masculine because of the cut and probably this line here and this here. We'll get rid of that for now. Make this look a little bit more feminine. Maybe the neck's too thick. That might be part of it. Let's make the neck just a little thinner. Yeah, that's already looking better. So again, guys, I am not good at hair. One of the things that I'm going to need to practice. So maybe you guys can help me with that. Help me give me inspiration to practice hair. So I think that's looking more feminine like. Girls are going to have kind of that. They always have that kind of thing right there. This looks a little cartoony, but it's okay. Maybe it's more comic-y. Cartoony. I don't know if the hair is going to go behind her or if it's going to kind of go in front of her shoulders here. So the other thing too, guys, we'll see is kind of your collarbone. So I think we might see some of that. I'll make this really light, and then let's flip it around. She's got some flyaways. Again, she hasn't been to the salon in a while. It's okay. Salon's expensive, I know. Very, very expensive. You got to give them that tip on top of everything else, and it's already. I mean, they're pretty good, but they're not. You know, You don't go in as much as the guys go in. So I think it evens out in the end. You might pay, $20 or $15 or whatever if you're a guy, maybe to get your hair done. But you go in every couple of weeks 'cause if you're keeping short hair, anyways. I guess it depends. If you got a man bun, then probably not so much. I wouldn't know. I've never had a man bun. Never. That wouldn't be a look for me. It wouldn't be a good look. So I don't think my wife would allow it either. Doing the eyebrows, or keep calling them eyebrows. Come on, guys. Keep me honest here. Not eyebrows, Josh. They're eyelashes. Eyelashes. Say it with me. Eyelashes. No. I should just zoom in and do this, but it's all right. We'll get it. One of the things that happens too, you put too many lines, like here, here, and here, especially like on a cartoony, comic-y drawing, you end up with a woman that kind of looks older. So it's like I guess a trick maybe. If you're trying to make somebody look older, add more lines. If you want to make them look younger, take away lines. Obviously, that's not going to work for realism, but if your thing is anime, manga, or whatever that's called, is manga what they call it when you draw anime? Is that the art of drawing anime? I don't know. It's not really my area of expertise or even really interest. I've never been a big anime guy. I love cartoons, just more the Marvel kind of DC, that kind of thing. That's always been what I've been into. But so that's not terrible. I could go in and probably even take this further and shade it in, get some more. I don't like that. I know there's like a bit of the nostril there that we would maybe get, but it's kind of hard just to get that part of it without getting too much. I feel like that's too close. Too close. There would be more space there, wouldn't there? I feel like there would be. Maybe like this. Yeah, not bad. There'd probably be a little bit here too. I think you would probably see that. Maybe that's the problem I'm having. Yeah, that's a little better. So one thing I struggle with a lot too, and you'll notice maybe that's one thing I shy away from, is shading. I'm horrible with it. I know the light direction, and it should be something that I can figure out, but I've always struggled with it. So if we think about the light being over here, I'm going to go ahead and do a layer on top of it because I feel like I'm going to go ahead and ruin it. Think about like a mountain top, right? So you have this here. So here's your mountain, or maybe a pyramid. You got the light coming over here. The light's going to hit this face, and this face is going to be real light. And this one's going to be in shadow. So that's kind of how our nose is. So if you think about it, the light's coming from over here, light source. So this side of our nose is going to be in shadow. This kind of recesses here. So I know the fundamentals, but it's really, it's always been something I struggle with. So the source of light is over here. I feel like, too, that the hair would cast a little shadow here as you kind of get up in here. This again, this is like one of those tricks you try and draw an old woman. Look, Sherry looks older. Do some crow's feet over here. And just add more lines, guys, if you want to make them look older. That's all you got to do. Add more lines. Makes them look super old. So you got to be real careful when you're putting your lines down. Otherwise, you're going to make your young person look super old. So anyways, you got kind of like, so you got that indent in there. So there's going to be some shadow there, shadow from the nose. Over here, you're going to be in shadow. The side here, again, because you got your Loomis method, that's kind of a different plane. So I think that would be more in shadow. So I'm showing you guys the stuff that I struggle with, not the stuff that I'm good at. This is the stuff that I really struggle with. Neck's going to be in shadow. I'm not real good with cross hatching and stuff like that too. Under your chin here, she probably almost would have like that, where there's like that kind of skin there. So you're going to have the shadow here. The shadow's going to be over here. Maybe this is, again, because your light source is lighting up this half of the face. This is going to be in shadow a little bit. This is recessed, so that'll be slightly in shadow. Stuff like that. But again, guys, I'm not good at the shadows. Like, it's okay, but it's too much, right? Is it just me? So a little touch goes a long way. So what am I doing? Delete layer, yes. So bring it back a little bit. Let's get rid of that under layer. And again, I'll do my shadows, and I'll try and do them real light, maybe real thin. Maybe that's part of my brush is too big. Maybe that's part of my issue here. Oh, I want to remove some of that. Again, kind of makes them look a little younger when you do that. So I'll try and accomplish that same thing with a little bit of shadowing. Just laying these lines down really quickly. The nice thing about this too is I got the undo option. If I think I've gone in, the other thing you can do too is kind of build it up. Start out real light, and then come back in and add more to it to kind of create more of that effect that you're going for. So bring your shadows in very lightly, and then come back in and keep bringing them in until you get what you're looking for. Maybe I want a little shadow there because there's like the nose kind of has a little there. So we give a little shadow there. Got some shadowed areas under the bridge. The lips are dark along this line. The top is kind of darker because the bottom lip sticks out a little bit more than the top lip. It almost looks like I'm trying to give her like a mustache or something. Like I said, I'm not real good at cross hatching, guys. This is where pencil would be nice because you can kind of smear it a little bit. I'm trying to give those lip lines a little bit, make those a little dark. So you get that shadow there. It's kind of under the lip. So that's kind of a light touch. I feel like the eyes could be better for sure. Oh no, I drew on the wrong layer again. Bummer. Oh well, it's just a practice drawing. So I think that's pretty good. I might even do another layer on top of that, or go back through and erase some lines like this here. This is pretty rough. So if I were to do more here, I'll make my brush bigger again. I would go in and add a single line and try and make those a little bit better. So not as rough, not as sketchy. And then once I had that done, I would go and maybe color it in if I wanted to, but I don't know that I would want to. The nice thing about this is you can keep going until you get the line that you want. Yeah, maybe like that. Yeah, maybe more like that. I like to erase some of this because it's lighter through here. So you probably, I mean, even this would probably be a little lighter. So your shadows kind of create your definition here. I'm cheating a little bit with the lines because if you're doing realistic, you're not going to draw lines like this. This is more of your cartoon comic style because the lines are going to be created by your colors around it. For instance, let's give it like a medium gray or something. So your lines would be created by, no, that's not a great brush for that. Your face would be shading. Here we go. There we go. Your lines are created by the shadow. So you would have, maybe if you had like a dark, if you were doing pencil or charcoal, you would create that line here with your shading. So you create that, so you actually wouldn't have that line. You would have the shading there to create, whoops. You would have the shading would be there to create your line. See what I'm saying? And then you might get rid of that line altogether because that the shaded area around it is what creates your line for you. So you're not actually drawing with lines when you're doing that stuff. You're drawing with values. Again, you would have a value here, and maybe a value under here, and that's what would create your separation. You would have the value under here that would make your under your lip dark, and you would leave those kind of light to create, and that's where you would create your lines from. The illusion of a line. Your eyes make that line for you by putting in all that shading and the dark values and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I'm going to stop. I feel like I've been rambling for the last 5 minutes, which is probably not true. It's probably been more like 10-15 minutes that I've been mostly rambling. But it's honestly, it's really a lot harder than I thought it would be to kind of narrate this and draw at the same time. I probably could just draw and not tell you what I'm doing, but then I don't know, I feel weird about that. Anyways, so video 3, guys. Hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of my skill set or lack thereof, and you guys can start coming up with things for me to do, whether it's unicorns or damsels in distress, or guys fighting with swords, or a landscape, or you tell me what you want to do. It could be a rabbit. It could be a rabbit doing a sword fight. I mean, who knows? Really anything. A rabbit doing a sword fight is not something I normally would do, but if you guys suggest it and I pick it at random, I'll give it a shot. It may turn out horrible, but it's definitely something I've never tried before. I'm not good at drawing animals at all. Dogs, horses, otherwise, as you guys saw with the horses for episode 1. So please, if there's something that you've always wanted to see, put it out there, and you guys can have it, show your friends, be like, look, I got this thing commissioned or whatever. You don't have to pay me. But it's not going to be a finished product by any means. It's going to be whatever I can do in 15, 20, 30 minutes. And you guys will come away with a sketchy version of whatever you want to see. And if we get lucky going along, maybe one night I'll do a real long one where I'll color it in, and or fill out more of like a landscape like this, like the face, but with like a landscape behind them, or some sort of scene, or some sort of like clothing, or something that fits with medieval, futuristic, whatever, and we'll try and come up with something kind of cool, or you guys can laugh at me when it doesn't turn out well at all. Anyways, thanks for joining in and sticking with the end here. And I'm going to stop rambling now.